Hello and welcome to day one of the Living Intentionally Challenge. I am so honored and excited to have this next 5 days with you. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for raising your hand to join this challenge, and also to thank you because you're sharing with me one of the most precious things that you have, and that's your time. And I want to be very respectful of that. And so these videos normally will be about 5 to 10 minutes long. I will say ahead of time this one may be a little longer because I want to give not only an overview of the challenge, but a bit of a story or backstory of who I am. You know, who the heck is Amy Smallars putting together this Living Intentionally challenge? And I will say a sneak peek into that is I am on a mission to reach and serve 1 million people in the next 5 years and really push out this movement of living intentionally, because I have seen hundreds of people, if not thousands, depending how you count the reach that I have, is that people are going through their days, struggling through their days, and sometimes just trying to get through. And we can all bring in, intention into our daily lives. And so I'm putting together this challenge to help you have a process for doing that and realize it doesn't have to be just theory. It's not rocket science. It does take some work, but that's what I'm going to be here with you as a guide for the next 5 days. So one question I have is, why did you join this challenge? And if you look on the Facebook group, and if you haven't joined already, please click on the link to join the closed group. It's for this challenge only. And I have a question in there. It's one of, old school back to Mad Libs of, I joined this challenge because, and then the next sentence is, I'm excited about blank and a little scared or anxious about blank. And so be sure to go into the Facebook group, click on that, and leave your response in the comments. And I realize some of the things that we'll be doing in the next 5 days are personal. And so if you're not comfortable sharing, don't worry about it. You're obviously not going to be forced to do that. But I will say, having participated in some recent challenges and joined a couple of recent groups that are amazing, is that even some of the information is personal. But I will say, people who've joined the challenge, you have something in common with, because you all raised your hand and filled out the form, clicked the link to join the challenge. So you already have something in common with folks in the group. And so it's a safe place to share things. And so like today, we're going to go through, I'll share, guiding words and your words of today. And I'll go in and I'll go through this with you today, but I'll also go in and post it in the Facebook group because I think it's something that I want to share with other people. And I'd love to hear what yours are because I love learning from you. And truth be told, y'all are going to learn more from each other probably this week than from me. And I'm just a guide on this process. But I'm super excited and honored to be a guide and on the journey with you. Now, regardless of the specific reason why you joined, I will say about 99.9% of you joined for one of 3 reasons. One reason is you want more of something. Another reason is you want less of something. Or the third reason is you want a complete overhaul, change, completely different. And I know this because in preparing for putting this challenge together, I have talked to hundreds of people, and I conducted a survey via my Facebook group, Living Intentionally, and feel free to join that or like that page if you haven't already. And then on LinkedIn, I have a group, Women's Biz Accelerator. And I asked these questions, and some of the specific responses I get, I just wanted to take a moment to share with you because I think, I'm guessing at least one or maybe all of them may resonate with you. So I want more work-life balance. I'm dealing with constant struggle. I'm starting a company but finishing my PhD at the same time, and my list of what I want to accomplish seems too daunting and too long. I'm juggling work and family, and I want to have more time for my kids, but at the same time, dealing with nonsense at my job, ridiculous institutional policies and tradition that just doesn't make sense. I'm also working to instill growth mindset in my kids, but it's hard to do that and juggle everything else during the day. I love this one. They have scheduling in big bold letters. Scheduling. Need 1 more hour in the day. How many of you have said you need more time in the day, right? It gets, you start out Monday and you get to Friday, you look like, where the heck did the week go? You know, or even on a daily basis, or just working to make more time for things. Finding meaningful work, and that's something I'll talk about as well, because that's something that I experience, and that's why I do what I do, because I have chosen to do work that is not only meaningful for me, but can contribute to other people and give back. So these are just, I mean, I could go on, and I don't want to, spend more time on that, but I have a feeling you can resonate with a few of those, and it could be one of those reasons you join the challenge. But like I said, it's you want more of something, less of something, or a complete change. And by the end of this week, my goal is for you to accomplish one of those things in terms of realizing who you are. So getting more introspective on yourself and thinking about how you want to contribute more, how you want to be seen by other people, and how you can organize and structure your day for your own intentions. And it's amazing because you change the lens of how you view yourself first. And by changing your self lens, you then change the lens through which you see the world. And it's a breakthrough process when that happens. But before we get into the challenge of today, I'd love for you to bear with me just for another 2 to 3 minutes, because I just want to share some of my story with you. Again, to give you an idea of how I came to this living intentionally and this movement that I'm creating. So like some of you, just about 3 years ago to the day, I was in the corporate world, right? So I'd gone through the process, I'd gone to college, I earned my degrees, I went to work full-time. I went full-time at night to get a master's in healthcare administration. And when I completed that, I wanted to continue my studies. And so I was fortunate to be a fellow in the Academy of Healthcare Research and Quality, and was able to get a PhD in 3 years, finishing, which was super fun and challenging and exciting. But in health services research and healthcare economics was a minor that I did with that. And then I went into academia to do research, right? Because that was the next step. And while I loved the research I was doing, it was with the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services, so CMS, it was a little slower for me. And for those of you who know me, when things are slow, I get a little bored. So I like to have a challenge. And so about 10 years ago, I made the switch to go into healthcare consulting. Now I really enjoyed that because I had different projects, a great team, worked with people, had some really nice, was fortunate to have good managers and that process. But what happened about 3 years ago was I got an email and a phone call on a Tuesday afternoon on my way home that I was basically requested that I be in the office early the next morning because there was, a senior team meeting. So I said, okay. But when you get a phone call and an email and it just feels funny, something's up, and for me, I feel it in my gut and I get stressed here. I don't know about you, but I've learned over the years to pay attention to my body, and immediately my gut kind of went a little icky and I tensed up. So that gave me a signal that I knew something was off. So it took a little time for my brain to catch up to the signals of my body, but it did. And so I reached out to my mentor at the time, and I have to say, mentors and coaches are a saving grace for me and have been for so many years. And I encourage you, if you don't have a coach, to look for places to find a coach. Mentors are harder because I don't agree with you reach out to somebody to be a mentor. You have to develop that relationship. But finding coaching, at least, is something I highly encourage because I have used that in so many ways in my life. But I met Margaret and we had coffee early, and I said, something's up. I don't know what. And I love her because she said, well, so the challenge is you don't have a poker face. And if you haven't caught on yet, my emotions come right out. I wear them on my sleeve, on my face. If I'm happy, mad, sad, you know it. So she gave me a couple of tips. And I went into the boardroom and I sat down and I looked around, And everyone was there except for my president because he'd been ousted or fired the night before. Nobody knew, not even him, that that was going to happen. And the person that was sitting at the head of the table, who was the new interim president who I was reporting to, was someone who over the past 18 months, it was just somebody that I didn't trust, I didn't respect, and he brought in a toxic environment. And I'll never forget the feeling because I remember sitting in that chair thinking, what am I going to do? You know, I had just gotten this job 18 months before, and you know it takes a while to get into the groove, right? And I had an amazing team of people, small group, smart people, caring people, and people that I trusted. And I had this whole, I can't leave the team because you're going to totally just highbosh everything, and I've been protecting my team, and then my president had my back when I protected my team, but now that's gone, and I'm going to have to take the brunt of all this, and it wasn't for me. So I sat down and wrote out kind of what I was good at, what I liked to do, what brought me enjoyment and fulfillment, and I figured that out. And my choice was to go out on my own, and I'm not saying that's for everyone, but that was the decision that I made. So fast forward to where we are now, and how does any of that have to do with living intentionally? And I say a lot because that point of my life and that particular turning point, as I call my aha moment, was I had the choice to stay in a job that paid well, that was steady, and that I knew that I could keep. But I would be miserable, and my daily intention was to help contribute. But if I'm off fighting all these internal processes and worrying about someone going to try to hijack this and worried about that, my intentions of actually contributing would be out the window. And so I made the decision to leave. And that's what with living intentionally, it has to do with knowing yourself first. And I think one of the problems that we have today is that we're so busy in our rat races, we're so busy running around, is that we don't take time to look as to who we are. So who is Amy? What do I like? What am I good at? And then how can I use that to help others, right? So that's where with day one, it's getting introspective. And so I'd like to now go through the process. And you're thinking, finally, she's getting to the whole part of the challenge today. And like I said, this one's a little longer. But for guiding words, now what are guiding words? So I like to say having intention is having direction. And so you have words that guide you. And so I'd like you to take a moment. And if you're not in a place where you can close your eyes, find a, pause this, get in a place where you can sit or stand up and just close your eyes a moment and take a deep breath. Now, while your eyes are closed, I'd like you to think of 3 words that define your truest best self. And these are 3 words that you want people to describe you as. So when they walk away from you, they would say, wow, Amy is blank, right? Jane is blank. 3 words that describe how you want others to perceive you. It could be strong, caring, passionate, teaching, supportive. The 3 words that describe you. Okay, great. Now open your eyes and write those words down. And I'll share mine in a moment. And now after you write those words down, take a moment and next to that word, just write a sentence as to why that word is meaningful to you. Now I'll share with you mine. Right? So the 3 words that I use are present, passionate, and bold. Right? So my guiding words of how I want to be perceived by others, present. Right? If I'm having a conversation with you, I'm with you. I'm not fooling on my phone. I'm not looking over your shoulder to see who else is in the room. I am with you, right? Passionate. I want people to know that I love what I do. I want people to know that I will go the extra mile for them. I want people to know that I bring energy and passion into my life every day. And bold, well, that's my dad always shared with me growing up. Stand up straight and look the world in the eye. And that's always stuck with me of making bold decisions. Standing up, not being afraid of who you are, and being that lone wolf against that pack of sheep. And making those decisions. And so, those are my guiding words of the day. Those are words that I want others to perceive me as. Now, those are words that I recommend that you keep for a while, whether it be a month, a quarter, a year. These are not words that should change every day. These are words that you want to live up to on a daily basis and work toward. Now, I can say I don't do all of these every day, right? I'm not always present as much as I want to be, and that's why it's a guiding word for me, because it's something I want to work toward. Now, the what, words of today, this is a fun one, and this is when you're setting your daily intentions, and, or I should say, when you're setting your to-do list, which some call your daily intentions, but it's really a to-do list. What I prefer to do is to start out with my words of today. Now, and I apologize for for day 2, I won't have as much back to the wall, but so my words of today, and I'll share these with you, and I just want to make sure that I don't take them. So taping, writing, and connecting is the last one. Now, these are the words that I have for today. Now, I think taping might be obvious because I'm taping the video for day 1 of the challenge. Now, writing is something, so I'm working on a blog post later today and editing one of the chapters for my upcoming book. So writing is something that's my word of today. Now, the third one is connecting. And I have that word because I have a couple phone calls later this afternoon where I've reached out to some people to just introduce myself and get to know them and have a conversation. And that's part of what I enjoy doing, is connecting. Now, your question might be, well, why do I have guiding words that stick with me, and then I have to go to the trouble every day of my what? Well, the key is the words that you have for your what, or I should say your guiding words, will lead you to your what, right? So in my taping, I have my guiding words that are related to this of being present and passionate with you, right? I need to be present in this video and also passionate, or else you're going to fall asleep. If you haven't already, hopefully you haven't. And then in writing, so that's my word of today. That's something that I want to accomplish, right? So it's not a task, but it's a description of my word of today, which is writing, which involves the blog post and involves the chapter. But in order for me to do the writing well, I have to be present in the moment. I have to be passionate about the topic I'm working on. And actually, bold applies because I have an idea of writing about something that isn't so conventional, if you will, and being a little bold of having a different idea. Now, the connecting, this one is being present. That's the word that I want to focus on the most for that, because I want to be present in the conversation with the folks that I'm talking to. So also, your guiding words don't have to cover all of your words of today. But again, having intention is having direction. So having your words of how you want to be every day. And then your words of today are things you are going to be working on. But remember, writing these down enables me to have intention behind what I'm doing. Now, one trick before I let you go on this first video for day 1, for the guiding words, there's a couple tricks to keep these front of mind. One of them, I actually have them on the wall near my laptop of my desk in my office. I have the 3 words there. Another trick that works that I also do and my clients do as well is in your phone you can program an alarm and you can put a label on that alarm. And my recommendation, usually I found most effective around 10 a.m. in the morning. Set an alarm for 10 a.m. and label that alarm your 3 words. So every day at 10 a.m., the alarm goes off and you have to turn it off. But when you look, you have that label. And so for me, I say, okay, present, passion, bold. Okay, am I being present right now? Am I bringing passion into my work? And have I had an opportunity to be bold today? And did I meet that? And so it's meant as that reminder, and it forms a habit of that as well. So that brings me to the conclusion of day 1. I know this has been a longer one, and I appreciate your attention. And like I said, I know your time is precious. But I hope that you have a better feeling for what this challenge is going to be working through the daily basis, and it's stepwise. So before we can do anything else about living intentionally, you first need to look at yourself and see what it is you want from you and how you want to be. And that's the purpose of doing the guiding words. And the what, that's going to be something I'm going to share with you every day and ask, hey, did you fill out your what today? What's your what today? And I'll be updating with that as well. And don't forget, join the Facebook group and click on that link. And if you're up for it, and I know it can be a little scary or a little awkward sometimes, at least, especially for the first part of the challenge. But if you're up for it, in the Facebook group, share your guiding words and your what for today. If you're there, I'll be sharing mine. I mean, you already have them here, but I'll share them in that group as well. And again, thank you so much for being day 1. Now, day 2 for tomorrow, just as an update or highlight, is I'm going to be breaking down urgent versus important. So when we develop our tasks for the day and we've thought about how we want to go about intentionally with our day, sometimes we don't take a moment or take time to think, well, what's urgent has to get done versus what's important to me to work on. And you'll be surprised because a lot of us have a lot of urgent things on our list and not many important ones. Or you'll notice that the important ones are the same ones that stay on the list day after day after day, and you don't quite tackle. So we'll get into that on day 2. So again, thanks so much. Make it a great day. And don't forget to start and end every day with a smile.